Hey guys, Luke here, and I'm here to preview round 3 of the 2015 NRL seasons. So this is Sunday afternoon football / Sunday night. I suppose it's more of a nighttime sort of thing, but we're just going to keep it at afternoon. So we've got two games. We've got the Rabbitohs versus the Tigers, and we've got the Titans taking on the Knights. So we're going to start off with the first game, which is the Rabbitohs taking on the Tigers. Then we'll go through the Rabbitohs lineup first, which is Inglis, Johnston, Walker, Goodwin, Reddy, Keary, Reynolds, George Burgess, Luke, Tyrrell, Glenn Stewart, Sutton, McQueen. The benches: Griegsmull, Clark, Lowe, Tom Burgess, Grant, McInnes, Millard, with 3 to be omitted. Tigers lineup is Tedesco, Naguama, Simona, Lawrence, Richards, Moses, Brooks, Woods, Farah, Galloway, Sirenan, Sue, Tapau. And the bench is Halatau, Siu Manafanai, Lodge, Santi, and Leah Lavave. With 1 to be admitted, probably the Leah Lavave dude. Now, speaking of the Rabbitohs, you know that they had a pretty solid win, a nice win against the Roosters. So probably the two form sides of the comp. It's only been 2 weeks, but if you had to go based off week 1, they were the two top sides. And even after that, they both came off looking pretty impressive. And it's hard to say Rabbitohs were, it's not like they were miles ahead. Roosters had a few blown chances, particularly Canada, which could have changed the game. At the same time, I'm sure Rabbitohs also had a few little things. If they went their way, it would have blown out the scoreline. Same time, they did leak in a lot of tries, but Roosters are a great attack as well. But they did put on a lot of tries as well, which is very impressive for them. Considering Roosters, one of the best defence in the comp, and they have been for many years. And unless something drastically changed this year, I expect them to be like that for the rest of the season. Probably just a one-off thing for them. Also, I wouldn't expect Rabbitohs to concede that many points as well in the future. I thought Glenn Stewart looked a little bit better this week. I know first week people raved on about him. I didn't think he did that much, but he seems pretty good this week. Dylan Walker, he's a great player. I'm not really sold on Bryson Goodwin and Joel Reddy in the side, but I'm sold on Luke Keary now. I wasn't sold on him last year, even when he won the premiership. I don't know if it's just because I was a bit of Bulldog supporter, but sort of like, oh man, I don't really rate Keary too much. But you know what? It seems like he's gone to another level. Inglis, he's playing a little bit more consistent, but you know what? I keep hearing this whole thing of like Rabbitohs, they're shooing to the grand final, blah blah blah, that sort of stuff. I don't expect this sort of form to continue the whole way through. They've already played a fair few games. They've had to get up for some big games so far. I reckon they're going to get burned out pretty soon. I mean, I don't expect it to happen for a little bit, but come mid-season, whatever, when State of Origin stuff's focus is gone, then we'll be able to tell, just how much of a title contenders Rabbitohs are. But I think it's ridiculous for people to already be saying it's going to be Roosters and Rabbitohs already locked in. Moving on to the Tigers, they're very impressive, don't get me wrong, but it was against the Dragons, and Dragons were awful. They were so shit. First off, they didn't have one of their best players, Josh Dugan, probably their best player. Secondly, they just kept shooting themselves in the foot, easy drop balls, just like so much dumb shit happening. But at the same time, Tigers were, very great. They're very good in attack. I'm not really going to talk about defense too much because I don't think Dragons really offered that much apart from some crossfield kicks. But Tedesco, he looked pretty okay. Moses and Brooks seemed to be linking up pretty well with Tedesco. Farah, just being Farah. I didn't see, I'm not going to say I was really attentive to either of these games. I had it on, but I wasn't sitting in there concentrating so much. So it's hard for me to talk about exact details in the side and that sort of stuff. But I'm just going to say the Rabbitohs are going to win 13 plus. I think they just got too much momentum. The hunger's still there from last year, and they want to go on and win this year, obviously. And they just got a better side, I think, in general, all over the park. I don't think there's a place that Rabbitohs are beat, really. So yeah, Rabbitohs 13 plus. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's 20 or 30 plus. It could get very ugly, and I'm sorry to say that, Tigers fans, but I think the side's just too small at this stage. Brooks and Moses, I think they'll just get targeted massively, and I don't think they have enough people to sort of cover them in defence. But they might come out and surprise a few people, including myself, that they might score a fair few tries and just be able to keep up with them with scoring points rather than try and defend out a game. But yeah, Rabbitohs. Moving on to the Titans and the Knights. Got to start off with the Gold Coast side, which is a very different side of what we've seen in the past. For the first 2 rounds, it's a much improved side with lots of the drug scandal people, whatever. They're all back. So he's their lineup. So we got Hoffman at fullback, who, it's good to see Josh Hoffman at fullback. Then we got Don, Roberts, Zillman, Mead, Caesar, Mortimer, Douglas, Falloon, Miles, James, Taylor, Bird, and the bench is Pettyborn, White, Simpkins, and Mosley. Now, the Knights, I was just about to start talking about the game, but the Knights lineup is Gidley, Menace, Gagai, Leilua, Uate, Mullen, Roberts, Snowden, Clydesdale, Corbin Sims, Scott, Rocco, Smith, and the bench is Randall, Houston, Farlongo, Stockwell, and Sione Matadio, who'll probably drop off the bench, or maybe end up on the bench. I don't know. I think he played last week. Now, talking about this side, I'm not really going to talk about the Titans' recent form too much, because I think they've got a completely different side. They're offering so many things that they just haven't had at their disposal the past few weeks, and yeah, it's just a whole different side. There's no point in me talking about the forwards and stuff, because it's a whole different forward pack. What I will talk about is the hooker position, and also the fullback position. Now, both Falloon coming into the side. I'm not sure if he really needs to be rushed back in the side. I really don't rate Falloon, but at the same time, I don't think Mosley has lit the world on fire. Now, I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, he's being great," but I think that's more of just the people wanting him to be great rather than him actually being great. He didn't really impress me. I thought, based off his New South Wales Cup stuff, he looked a lot like Seguero. Didn't really run it very often. Maybe it's just the side he was playing with. I don't really know, but didn't really impress me that much. At the same time, both Falloon, he really doesn't impress me either. So I'm not sure who you'd pick. I would have picked Mosley just because I think he's got a higher ceiling, got more potential. I think Falloon, this is as good as he gets. But you know what, they've gone for the sure thing probably. They've gone for Falloon, who's tried and tested. He got their Player of the Year last year, so good on him. Hoffman and Zillman doing a swap. Now, it was always coming. I think the idea was that Zillman was just playing fullback until he got comfortable with the centre position. Hoffman could already play there, so it's an obvious thing. Although I wouldn't have done it personally, I wouldn't have Zillman in the side. But you know what, they seem hellbent on having him in the side. Probably more the fact they don't have any other centres. But yeah, Hoffman moves back to the forward position. I'm not sure if they're still going to be rotating. I assume they probably will keep rotating. But yeah, they've got that. Forward pack though, you look at the forward pack on paper, it does look pretty strong. Douglas, a great player. Nate Miles, great player. Ryan James, he's pretty up and comer. Dave Taylor, he has a potential to be a great player. And Greg Bird, he's a pretty good player. So they definitely can cause a bit of havoc, those guys, if they want to have a go, which I assume they will be. It's their first game back in front of their home stadium as well, so they should be really firing. And Pettyborn moving onto the bench, I think he's been pretty good so far. So some of these guys who probably wouldn't have got much of an opportunity, they've got a chance to have a go in the first few rounds, and just show what they're capable of. So now the coach, he can see some of the players, and he can look at the Simpkins and say, you know what, you impressed me a fair bit in those games where we lacked forwards. You should be on the bench. I think that was probably the best part of that for them, is that they sorted out their bench really, although they really couldn't afford to lose games against Tigers and such. They did look promising at stages throughout the game against Penrith, but overall just not that great. And let's move on to the Knights. They were pretty good. I thought they were pretty good. In particular, the centres, Gagai, Leilua, what a start to the season they've had. I think for them to win, I think they just need to just match it in the forwards, and then I think the backs will do their work as well as the halves. I think they got better halves. Mullen and Roberts. You know what? Mullen doesn't get many raps for whatever reason, but his kicking game is just great. And I think Uate's back in form, which should really help him. I'm not sold on Kurt Gidley at fullback, but once again, sort of like Titans with Zillman, they're hell bent on having Gidley in the side. Now I understand why, because he's been a long servant to the club, but I just feel Matauti is probably a better option there, or even Mummo or whoever they've got in the 20s. Yeah, both sides benches. They seem pretty okay. This Tyler Randall dude seems to go alright. Yeah, if I had to pick a winner, I'd say Titans, just based off I'd say the Knights, just based off the fact that that they haven't got people coming into the side after not playing for a fair while, so it's not people's first games. Plus they had a nice win against the Cowboys, so they should be full of confidence. And I just think Gagai and Leilua might do the job on their centres, and Mullen should just be able to control the game, which I'm not really sure that Caesar and Mortimer seem to be able to do. So I'll say 1-12, because I'm not really sure of the score of this one, but yeah, that's my predictions for Sunday afternoon football. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Rambled on a little bit, but whatever. It's my video. So yeah, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to my channel. If you want to follow me at Twitter, it's at Mr. Luke MYT. And if you want to leave comments, I'll reply, whether it's predictions or you want to ask me a question or whatever, go ahead. Yeah, once again, I say this at most of the videos. If you disagree with what I say, there's no need to get aggressive or anything, or start saying, "Oh, look at you, you're a dickhead" or whatever. It's just an opinion. It's not a fact. I mean, everyone's open for an opinion, right? But yeah, if you disagree, sort of say in the comments why, but don't get nasty or anything. But yeah, this is where the video ends. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye, guys.